and more honors for St. John's players, as it's always an honor to have you with us every Sunday night. So let's get this edition of Sports Extra started right now.
It's time for Sports Extra, presented by your local Toyota dealers.
Good evening. Hope you're having a great weekend, and we are so glad you are spending your Sunday night here with us. This is Sports Extra, presented by your local Toyota dealers. I'm Tina Servasio. Well, the hits keep coming from spring training, and I'm not talking about home runs. Today we learned that the New York Mets lineup has taken a hit, losing one of their best offensive weapons for opening day and beyond. Catcher Francisco Alvarez will need surgery to repair a fractured hamate bone in his left hand, and he's expected to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. And because this injury is actually on his receiving hand, the catcher's return could take even longer to ensure total healing of that bone. Now, the injury reportedly took place when Alvarez was taking live at-bats at the Mets complex on Saturday. The 23-year-old said he felt something after a swing, immediately going to the trainer's room where x-rays revealed the fracture. Alvarez will have surgery tomorrow on Monday. Luis Torrens, he is expected to take over catching duties for the time being. Now, Mets manager Carlos Mendoza and Mets president and general manager David Stearns, yes, they both confirmed the bad news today in Port St. Lucie.
He's a catcher, and this is his receiving hand, and so realistically, we're probably looking towards the longer end of that 6 to 8 week range. I think that's probably where we set our expectations, but we would expect back in Major League competition at that point.
It's a big blow, when your starting catcher goes down.
Yeah.
But guys will step up. Guys will get opportunities. We feel good with what we have in house. Pretty sure David and the group will be looking for outside as well, as he always does.
The Mets were in action today against the Washington Nationals, and starting pitcher Clay Holmes had another nice outing. He pitched 3 2/3 scoreless innings, giving up just 1 run and striking out 8. Holmes has yet to give up a home run this spring. The Mets scored 6 runs in the first inning, the first 2 coming off the bat of that man, Mark Vientos, who hit his first home run of the spring, as Mets go on to beat the Nationals 7-6. Now, speaking of the Mets and Mark Vientos, during my time in Port St. Lucie, I had a chance to sit down with Vientos and go one-on-one with the third baseman as he was coming off what was a breakout season for him last year, batting .266 with 27 home runs and 71 RBI in 111 games, earning himself a regular role in the Mets lineup. And it all built up to his 5 home runs in the postseason. Now, this spring training, it appears that Vientos is picking up where he left off, but he says it all comes from a full year of experience in the big leagues with some great veteran mentors. But a conversation with Vientos wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about his off-the-field passion, fashion. The Swaggy V.
What's up? What's up?
Did the guys call you that a lot?
Yeah, they do. At first last year they were kind of like, hey, we're not calling you that, but I think the name is sticking a little bit, so I got a good amount of guys calling me Swaggy now. Brett Beatty just started calling me Swaggy V, and it kind of stuck with me because I've always been the type of person to kind of dress up wherever I go. Like, I could go pick up groceries and I wanted to look good for some reason, and I'm just into clothing and I'm into fashion, and I kind of just stuck with the name and did my thing last year and just stuck.
So JD Martinez was a big mentor for you last year. What is something that he taught you that you applied and you saw work?
On the plane, he was my buddy right next to me, and he would always be looking at his swing, and I'll be peeking my head over, being like, oh, let me see what you're doing. I'm just I stay quiet, I observe, I ask little questions here and there that if I'm curious about, and he taught me a couple things with my swing that I should look for sure, but most importantly was, he's like, hey, don't lose that hunger.
Vientos smacks one deep right center, hit it toward the wall, and it's out of here. Mark Vientos goes the other way for his 18th home run, a 2-run shot.
People described your at-bats and your approach to the plate to very patient.
Patience is the key to life, to be honest. I feel like patience is everything. I feel like at the plate, I know the type of hitter I am. I tend to be aggressive, but in certain situations you have to be patient. You got to wait for your pitch. You got to know how the team is approaching you, and it's different game plans for different teams and different pitchers.
Game 2 of the NLCS, that was a pretty long at bat, wasn't it, for the Grand Slam? Patience.
Oh, yeah,
And
exactly,
the
exactly.
chip, too, because you went into that batter's box a little mad that they walked Lindor before you.
Back to right center field. Baez on the move with the track. He couldn't find it. It's because it's over the wall. Grand slam, Vientos.
I did take it personal, but if you really sit down and I really explain it, I would walk Lindor 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10 to get to me, because you're talking about a guy that's been there, done that for years, and a guy that's basically a rookie that hasn't done it in that big spot. So, but the way I play like I'm the best on the field. There was one of these days in the off season where I couldn't go to sleep, and I just was on YouTube watching videos.
This off season or
This off season. And when you're just in the moment doing things, you don't see how big it is. So I'm watching it on my phone the whole at bat, and I low-key just start tearing up, because I'm like, man, I can't believe I did that. It's just but in the moment I was like, this is what I need to do. It wasn't really that big of a deal.
You're focused.
I was just so locked in, but it's crazy to see it after a couple of months and just soak it in. It was awesome.
And you mentioned you credited your parents to getting you to that point with your breakout year. I know your dad grew up in the Dominican, comes to New York, is a big Mets fan. What was his reaction, and does he still talk about that hit in that moment?
He's the one that tells me it's crazy to see you just out there and all these fans and seeing you in the playoffs and seeing what you did, and he's like, it's a father's dream.
He got a thunderous ovation from the crowd.
When you look at Soto added to the mix with Francisco Lindor and Pete's back, and what Alvarez and you were able to do, taking your games to the next level last year in this lineup, how do you see this Mets lineup?